What was life like for America's first billionaire, John D. Rockefeller? On a quiet night, we drift back to a softer century, when lamps glowed low and streets rested early. John D. Rockefeller moved through those days with measured steps, a man of routine and patience. His mornings were simple and orderly, shaped by prayer, careful notes, and steady work. Wealth grew slowly, like a tide that follows the moon, never rushing. Even as his name spread, his life stayed plain, guided by calm habits and a wish for balance. In his homes, rooms were neat and hushed, with polished wood and curtains that softened the light. Meals were modest, shared in quiet conversation. He walked often, breathing cool air, listening to leaves and distant bells. Numbers and plans filled his hours, yet evenings returned him to stillness. Giving was a steady practice, done without noise, as if kindness were another gentle rhythm, moving with the day and settling with dusk. As years passed, time slowed around him, smoothing sharp edges into calm reflections. He rested in familiar chairs, reading softly, thinking of order and peace. Success no longer pressed upon him. It lay folded and distant, like a blanket set aside. Night would arrive without effort, and thoughts would loosen their grip. In that quiet, the world felt kind and unhurried, and the moment drifted on, growing softer, dimmer, until only calm remained. The days around him continued in a gentle pattern, marked by quiet discipline and long patience. Rockefeller believed in steady motion, never hurried, never loud. He kept careful records, written by hand, each line calm and deliberate. Money was treated like water in a well, drawn slowly, never spilled. Outside his windows, seasons changed without announcement, and he noticed them in small ways, through light, air, and silence. His faith stayed close, like a soft lamp in a dark room. Each morning and evening returned him to stillness and reflection. He found comfort in order, in knowing when to rise, when to rest, when to pause. Even his illnesses were met with calm acceptance. Doctors spoke quietly, rooms stayed dim, and time stretched long and slow, allowing the body and mind to settle. As old age arrived, life became lighter, almost weightless. Ambition faded into memory, and routine turned into comfort. He listened more than he spoke. He smiled often, gently. The world outside moved on, but his inner hours grew peaceful and wide. Night after night, thoughts softened, breathing slowed, and moments drifted without effort. The hours blended together like shadows and moonlight, easing onward, unbroken, calm, and still. As the world around him grew quieter, Rockefeller's days became wrapped in gentleness. He spent long hours seated near windows, watching light move slowly across the floor. Simple books rested in his hands, their pages turned without hurry. The sound of a clock marked time in a soft, steady way. Nothing pressed upon him. Each moment felt complete, needing no change. Visitors spoke in low voices, careful not to disturb the calm that filled the rooms. Conversations were brief and kind, often ending in shared silence. He found peace in listening, in small smiles, in familiar faces. Outside, gardens waited patiently, paths worn smooth by years of quiet walks. The air carried a sense of rest, as if the day itself had learned to slow down. When evening arrived, lamps were dimmed, and shadows stretched gently along the walls. The past no longer asked questions. Success, effort, and struggle softened into distant memories. Breathing became slow and even. Thoughts wandered like leaves on still water, touching nothing. The night held everything with care, folding sound and light into softness. Time loosened its hold, and the moment drifted onward, tender and unbroken, settling into a deep, peaceful hush. The later years unfolded with a tender quiet, as if life itself had learned to whisper. Rockefeller's days were shaped by rest and reflection, moving without demand. He rose gently, sat calmly, and allowed time to pass without counting it. Sunlight entered slowly through tall windows, warming the room in pale tones. Each breath felt untroubled, steady, and full. Memories came without weight. Childhood streets, early work, familiar faces. They appeared like soft images on water, then drifted away. There was no need to hold them. Silence was welcome now. Even thought became slower, softer, less defined. The world felt distant but kind, wrapped in a peaceful blur where nothing asked to be solved. As night settled in, the house grew still. Lamps glowed faintly, then dimmed. Curtains rested. The air felt cool and safe. His presence blended gently with the room, unseparated from time or place. Breathing slowed. The moment stretched, wide and calm. Nothing remained but quiet warmth and an easy sense of being. The hours faded softly, like light slipping behind the horizon, leaving only calm, and then even less than that. In the final stretch of life, everything became slow and gentle, like a long evening that never rushed toward morning. Rockefeller's days were quiet and light, free from effort. He spent time simply being, resting in soft chairs, wrapped in familiar stillness. The world no longer felt large or demanding. It felt close, contained, and calm, as if nothing existed beyond the room and its quiet air. The passing hours were marked only by subtle changes. Light shifting, shadows lengthening, a distant sound, then silence again. He did not chase thoughts anymore. They came and went on their own, leaving behind a sense of ease. Breathing stayed slow and deep. Each moment felt complete, asking nothing more. Peace settled not as an idea, but as a feeling that gently filled the space. As night deepened, everything softened further. The room rested. The mind rested. Time itself seemed to loosen and drift away. There was no beginning and no end, only a smooth, unbroken calm. The air felt warm and safe. Thoughts thinned into quiet awareness, then into almost nothing at all. The moment held steady, tender and still, fading gently into silence, where nothing stirred and nothing needed to. Good night,